For this tutorial, I'd like to show you how to draw the doors that you see on the screen here. I'll show you how to create the door. It's going to be a door that's 2 foot 6 inches wide, and then we're going to copy that and create a door that's 3 feet wide. Over here we have a bifold door, and then here is a double door. And this double door, we'll just assume that both of the doors are 3 feet wide. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to come over here and click on New. I'm going to use my HWC drawing template. I'll just click on that. And then follow the instructions that you see online or given to you by your instructor and go ahead and save your file, which is what I'm going to be doing. Okay, so I've gone ahead and saved my file as needed, and I can begin to draw. I'm going to take a look at that example one more time here before starting. Zoom in a little closer to that. And I'm looking at the dimensions. When you draw the door, you're drawing both the door here as well as the swing, you can see, and it shows which way the door is opening. And then we also draw the door jambs over here because that's what connects it to the wall. And I'm indicating that you want to assume a wall thickness of 5 inches, and then the door jamb is going to have a thickness of 2 inches. This first door that we're going to draw is a 2 foot 6 door. 0, 0 can be pretty much anywhere that you want at this point. I'll just go ahead and get started. I think what I'll pick as my starting point 0, 0 is going to be the center point of the radius here. So I'll begin by drawing a line, L, enter. I'm going to start that at 0, 0, enter. Ortho is already on. And by the way, I'm also going to check my object snaps real quick. Endpoint, midpoint, intersection, extension, that's what I have going. You can double check yours as well. So I'd like to take this line up 2 feet 6 inches and enter. And at this point, I can pan and I can zoom in a little bit. And if I want, I can continue drawing the door because I know that it is 1.5 inches thick. So I can type in 1.5 and enter. I'll bring this down here and I can type 2 foot 6, enter. And then I just need one more line. As I zoom in, you can see that. And I'm going to type C for close and enter. So that gives me the 4 lines that represent the door. And I think what I'm going to do now is select all of them, all 4 lines, and I'm going to type J for join and enter. So it has joined all of the lines. Tap escape and I'll continue. Time to put in the door jamb. And I'll start with this door jamb, and it takes a line that's 5 inches long and then another line here that's 2 inches and another line that's 2 inches over there. So I'll zoom in here. I'll start by typing L, enter. I'll use this endpoint here, take a line down, type 5 and enter. I zoomed in a bit too close, so I'm going to pan down like this, and then take it over, and I'll type 2 and enter. I'll enter to terminate the command, and then I have the option of either drawing this line up here, I can copy the line, I can offset it, I can mirror, whatever you'd like to do. You're understanding all of these commands now. Personal preference right now is going to be to offset it. So I'll type O, enter. I'll type 5, enter. I'll take this line, offset it up, and enter. That terminates it. And then I'm going to window the 3 lines, and I'll join those as well. I'll type J and enter. So they go from being individual line segments to one single polyline. So this door is 2 foot 6 in length. And what I need to do is I need to put a jamb on the opposite side. I'll show you a few ways of doing that. Number one, I'm going to type a line, and I'll start at this endpoint here, and I'm going to take it over 2 feet 6 and enter again to terminate it. So I know it needs to be 2 foot 6 away. What I can do is I can go ahead and start drawing the lines over here that represent the jamb and then join them. But what I'm going to instead do is I'm going to mirror what I've already drawn. So I'm going to type MI, enter. I select this polyline, enter, and I pick the midpoint of this line. Click on it, take it up, and enter. And then I can take this line, select it, and delete because I don't need it anymore. That's one way to do it. I'll undo that. I'll bring it back and I'll undo again. Another way, I can just select the polyline. I can type CO for copy, and I can copy it, let's say, from this endpoint over to this endpoint. Tap the escape key, and then mirror that. So I'll type MI, enter, mirror this polyline, enter, and I'll pick this point here, take it up, and in this case, erase the source object, yes. So I have the results that I had achieved earlier. Couple of ways of doing it, and then I'm going to erase this line, and then I'm going to show you one other way, similar to exactly the way I just did it, without drawing the line. And I'm going to take advantage of my tracking. So I'm going to type MI again, select the polyline, enter, and I'm going to go from this point, track it, just pausing there for a moment, over, and as I go over, half of 2'6" is 1'3". So I'm going to type 1'3", enter, and then I'm just going to go straight up here, click, erase the source, no, and I have my mirrored jam on the other side. I can come over here to measure, and it tells me it's 2'6" away. And by the way, if you wanted to, you can also go to measure and you can do a distance check. And the distance, you would give it 1 point and then the other point, and you can see it's 2'6". If you click on it, it tells you that the distance is 2'6", and then I can go ahead and exit. That's all set. One more thing to do, and that is to add the door swing, which is nothing more than an arc. And remember, the arc gets drawn in a counterclockwise direction. There are options. You can hold down the control key so that in case you start in the wrong direction, but I prefer to get it started so that I can continue to go in a counterclockwise direction. So that means I want to begin my arc at this point here and then let it finish at that point up there. From here, I'm going to click on Arc, and I'm going to select the option that gives me the start point, or rather the center point. I want my center point, my start, and my end. So center, start, end it is. I click on center. It says provide the center point of the arc. I know it's going to be right here because that's the door hinge. So I click on it. Specify the start point of the arc. It's going to start right here. I have to make sure, and if I have to, I'll zoom in to make sure to pick on that endpoint. And then I'll start moving my line up. Now, you don't see anything happening because I have ortho on. Turn ortho off. You'll see how it's just following based on that radius, based on that start point, and I want to take it all the way up so that it is a quarter of a circle. So I take it to this endpoint and I click. All set there, and I can zoom, extents, and that's my door. You can double check the measurements and see what you have. I'll go to quick, 2'6". It shows me that the radius is 2'6" there, so everything is good. Double check down here, 2'6", 5 inches by 2, all set. Tap the escape key. Zoom extents one more time, and then Control S to save it. It's now time to put in the 3.0 door. So to do that, all I'm going to do is make a copy of the door here. So I'm going to pan over. I'll type CO for copy, and I believe CP also is the copy command. So either one, CO or CP. So enter. I'll select my objects using my implied window. Enter. I'm going to make a copy of it right over here. I don't have ortho on. Maybe I want to keep it in line, so I'll hold down the shift key like this. It'll give me a straight path, and then I'll click and then tap the escape key. So I'm all done there. Now, here's what you'll need to do. First of all, it's 3 feet, which means that I need to take this jamb and move it over by 6 inches. So I have it selected. I type M, enter. And this time I am going to turn ortho on. And I'll click at this point here. It doesn't matter where you click. Yeah, I can even click in the middle of the screen here, but I'll use this as a point to start off. And I want to take it over to the right, so I'm indicating the direction, and then I type in 6 and enter. So that is now 3 feet. I can measure, I can check. There it is, 3 feet. I'll tap the escape key. This arc, I need to change the radius. So I have it selected. I right click and I go to my properties, and my properties was already docked at the corner, so it just comes out, but let me go back into it there. And I can see that the radius here is 2'6", and I'm going to change that to 3 feet. So you can either type 3 feet or you can type in 36 inches and then enter. And I have the arc at the correct radius. Tap the escape key to deselect, and then I need to take my door and increase it by 6 inches. So one way to do that, I'm zooming in, is to use the stretch command. So I can type S and enter. I know it needs to be a crossing window, implied crossing, which means I need to go from right to left. So as long as I start somewhere on the right-hand side, click, take it over to the left, click, enter, and I can take it from this endpoint here up to that endpoint. And the door is now 3 feet in length. That's one way to do it. Another way, I'm going to undo here, is to grip the door. In other words, just click on it. And you're going to get a grip right here. And all you have to do is click on that grip and take it up and make sure that ortho's on, because if it's not, it may not work out. So take it straight up, a distance of 6 inches. So I type 6 and enter. And I have my door. I'll tap the escape key, zoom out. So a 2'6" door and a 3'0" door is what I have. Control S to save, and then move on to the next door. Since I'm already creating these doors with the door swings and I just finished making my 3'0" door, I might as well make this one. So I'll go back to AutoCAD, and then I'm going to type CP, enter. I want to copy this door, enter, and I'm just going to take it straight across here. Actually, yes, straight across for now. I can move it later. I'll put it right there, tap the escape key. Now, I know that it's double doors, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to basically mirror, MI, enter, the arc and the door. And see how it was helpful to join them and create one polyline so I don't have to pick all 4 individual line segments. So that's nice. I will enter. First point of the mirror line is going to be right here. I click on that. I take it straight up and I click. Erase the source object. By default, no is the answer, so I enter. And then the last thing I need to do is take this jamb and move it over. So I'm going to select it, and then I can use just the grips because it's a polyline. I'm going to click right here, and then I'm going to tab or spacebar and move. So yes, use the spacebar, not tab. Spacebar, I have the move option, and it's moving the polyline. So I can move it right here and then tap the escape key. I could have used the move command as well. Let me undo that. I'll type M, enter, select my object, enter, pick this endpoint, take it over to this endpoint. And then I can always check the measurements. 3 feet, 3 feet, overall 6 feet, all set there. I'll tap the escape key, zoom it out. And then what I'd like to do is make room for my bifold door. So not that I have to, I'm just moving things around here. So I'll type M, enter. I'll select this door, enter. And we prefer to keep information up in the positive direction. So remember, this is the UCS icon. This is 0, 0. Anything below that is negative y values, and anything to the left is negative x. So we like to work in this quadrant where everything is positive. That's just a preference that we have. So I'm just going to select this object from this endpoint here. I'll turn ortho off, and just to practice lining things up, I will track this endpoint right here and just go straight up and put it right there. Okay, so I have my doors, and I now need to create my bifold doors. So let me pan over and go up, and this is the typical bifold door. And you see where it says there, now let me zoom out a little bit, and actually, sorry, zooming in a little too much. And apologies, it got cropped, but it's basically saying here that you have a bifold door, and the opening for this, assume it's a 4-foot opening. So each one of these panels will be 1 foot. 1 foot times 4 is 4 feet. And the way we show a bifold door is half open. So it's a 45-degree angle here, which means that makes this a 90-degree angle. So time to draw that. I'm going to come back over here, and to make it easy on myself, I'm going to draw a line. So I'll type L, enter, doesn't matter where. I'll click right here for now, and I want to take it straight across, so I'm going to turn ortho on, and I want to make this line 4 feet long, and enter. And then enter again to terminate the command. I'll zoom in right here. And the reason for putting that line in there is to make sure that I am going to be 4 feet from one endpoint over to the other endpoint. So I want to be from this endpoint over to that endpoint. I want that to be exactly 4 feet. I have the line there, and I'll go ahead and draw the bifold door. So I'm going to start with polar tracking. I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to set it to 45 degrees. And I'll start to draw a line. And I'll draw the line from here, and I'll take it at a 45-degree angle, and I'll type 48.5. No, apologies, I'll type 1 foot. So 1 foot, enter. And then I'll draw the other line here, and I'll type 1 foot. I'm not going to bring it all the way to the end, even though it can snap, but I just want to make sure that I'm keeping that angle, and then I'll type 1 foot, enter, and then enter again to terminate. So that's the inner set of lines. And then I'm going to offset. I'll type O, enter, and I will offset 1.5 inches and enter. I'll take this line, offset it down, take this line, offset it down. And actually, I think I offset it in the wrong direction. And this is me just evaluating myself. I want to take a look at my example here. And I said that I want that to be the start point. So I need to actually offset up on both of the lines. So this is my mistake. Glad I caught it. I'm going to undo. So I'll type U, enter, and I'll go again. O for offset, 1.5 inches. And I'll offset up in this direction and then up in that direction and enter. And then I'll draw a line, enter, from this endpoint to that one. I will use my space bar to enter and space bar again to draw another line over here and enter. And then right here, I'm going to use the fillet command. So I'm going to type F, enter. My radius is already set to 0, so I'm going to fillet this line with that one. And I'm going to fillet this line. I'm sorry, I need to enter again. Fillet this line with that one. And I want to double check and make sure that it is 1 foot in length. So a couple of ways to do that. One, of course, is come up here to measure, quick measure. And it shows me that it's 1 foot, but not in the right direction. So I did something a little wrong here. I'm going to do a distance check from this point over to this point. And it says that that's 10.5 inches. So I made a mistake there. I'm glad I made this mistake. So what I'm going to do now is take advantage of what I've already drawn. I'm going to erase the lines over here, and I will go ahead and fillet this and this for now, just to close it off. And actually, I'll take this line and delete it. And here's what I'll do. I'll type O, enter. I'll offset 1 foot from here over there and enter. And then I will go ahead and extend. So EX, enter. And I'll extend the 2 lines over this way and enter. Okay, now that's a foot. I'm glad I checked it. So I'll measure again. Sorry, I will do a quick measure. And there it's telling me it's 1 foot. That's what I wanted. So I'll tap the escape key. Now what I'll do is I'll mirror this door, part of the bifold door. So I'll type MI, enter, window all of this and enter. And I'll go from this point and I'll go straight up and enter like this. Delete source, no, I'll enter. Done. But now I have these individual line segments down here and I want to avoid those. So let's see if this will work. If I type J for join and enter, and I join this line and this line, enter. Yes, that's been joined. Tap the escape key. I want this one and that one to be joined, so I type J, enter. You want to avoid having small line segments. They need to be continuous. And now I'm going to try something else. I'm going to see if I can join all of this into one polyline. So I'm just going to window everything like that and type J and enter. And let's see what happened. It does tell me that 6 objects were converted to one polyline in the command line. When I hover, there it is. I've got my bifold door. And then I can come over here now and I can type copy. So CO, enter. I'll select my bifold door, enter, and I'll copy it from this endpoint over to this one here and tap the escape key. And I know that they're exactly 4 feet apart because this line is 4 feet in length. I'll do a quick measure. There it's showing me it's 4 feet, and I'll tap the escape key. I can take this line and delete it now, and I'm all set. Now, let me show you another way that I've done this before, because what I did right now could be a little confusing. I mean, I ended up making a mistake, which is fine. We learn from our mistakes. I could have done this. I could have typed L, enter, drawn a line here, taking it straight down, 1 foot, enter. Take the line across, type 1.5 inches and enter. And take it up this way and type 1 foot and then type C for close. Do that. Then MI, enter. And I select my line segments here, enter. I pick this point and I want to mirror it at a 90-degree angle, which means I need my 45 degrees. So because I have polar tracking on and it is set to 45, it works out. So I can go ahead and click. And erase the source object? The answer is no. And then from here, let's see what happens if I type J and enter and select everything and enter. And it is now 1 polyline here, 1 polyline there. It didn't work out the way I wanted it to. And that's why I'm going to undo first. This is why I made sure that I joined these 2 line segments first. So I type J, enter. And then I took these 2 line segments and I typed J, enter, so that they're connected. Now I'll try again, select it, type J, enter, and it is now 1 closed polyline. And then finally, RO, enter, select my polyline, enter, rotate from this point to a 45-degree angle like that. And then it is helpful to draw a line from this endpoint across 4 feet, enter, enter to terminate, and then CO, enter to copy this bifold, enter, from this point here over to this endpoint. Tap the escape key. And you have the same results. It was just a different way of completing the bifold doors. I don't need both of them. I'll just take this and delete, and then zoom extents, and then Control S to save. And I am all set with my doors.